Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. It is Antoine again here. We are doing another installation of Mornings in Twanman's Den. Today we have a very, very amazing guest today. He is a very, very positive guy. He's a great streamer. He brings off a lot of great vibes, and he himself does a podcast as well. And we've got a lot to go over today. So I'm very excited to welcome our guest, TasticSilver. Tastic, how are you
Hello.
doing, my friend?
I am doing extremely well. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, buddy. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to do this today. Um,
Oh, you're welcome.
the first question, I think, is very, it is a great question. Is how long have you been streaming for? How long have you been on Twitch?
So I have actually been on Twitch a little over a year now. I didn't actually start streaming until November of 2020, but I actually was a member a little bit prior to that just because I knew about the platform, and I actually had a few friends of mine who tried it out from World of Warcraft and other games I've played. And I was just nervous to be a streamer myself, until a little bit later, due to certain reasons, which we can always get into a little bit later. But November was when I actually first went live, and I have been doing it ever since. Unfortunately, I haven't been too consistent as of late, but that's okay, because I recently got a new job, which has been going, you know, well enough. But for the most part, everything has been great. I have met so many wonderful people through this experience, and I am so glad I actually decided to actually become a streamer and started up back then. So very, very soon will be my 1 year point.
That is awesome, man. It
Yeah.
seems like a lot of us have had that year point. It seems like a lot of us that have gotten together within the community. We have all started about a year ago is when I about started too. So it's amazing to kind of see where everybody's how everybody's kind of growing and what everybody's done
Uh,
within the year. As a streamer, personally, how do you feel you have grown within your community within the year? How do you feel that you've grown within the year you streamed?
uh, I have grown honestly tremendously. I haven't seen like major growth in terms of thousands and thousands of followers, 100s plus viewers, but that's not what I'm looking for. I was really looking for just a nice, tight knit community of genuine, caring people that believed in the same values as I did. When I first started, I was only playing one specific game. I had no webcam. Audio was pretty bad, and there was very little interaction, in chat. I had maybe one or two people pop in, but they never really like stayed, and no relationships were really built up. It wasn't really until the third week, I would say, where two people who I had met through one person who was actually kind of sticking around, he introduced me to his own community, and from his community, I managed to meet these two people, husband and a wife couple, another one of their friends, and another one of that person's friends. So these four people really, stood out to me because they would come to every single stream. They would actually interact in chat. And even though they did not like the game I was playing, they were there for me. And it felt so great, and they are the ones who really got me realizing, this platform is so beneficial, especially to people who might suffer from, social stress, social anxiety, uh, introvertness, that, I kind of got out of that comfort shell. I turned the webcam on, tried out different games, and ever since, everything has just kind of blown up in a way, and it's just been so much more than I expected. I have met so many wonderful people. I've actually met them in real life, which has been absolutely wonderful, especially after this whole, COVID situation, everyone being stuck inside, not being able to do anything. The fact
Right.
that I'm now able to get out and see people again is great. I never really had a good group of friends growing up because of my anxiety, generalized anxiety, and other situations going on. And the fact that I'm able to call these people friends that I met through an online platform is absolutely insane and wonderful. So I'm so glad for this. And even though I'm not a big streamer, which I don't want to be in the first place, I feel like I've gotten more out of that than any follow, any sub amount, any view amount than I could ever ask for. I could easily have gone or attempted to go for Twitch partner, made it all about the money, made it all about you know just numbers. But the fact that I didn't do that, I think, made this whole experience so far much more pleasurable, and I think it was the best move since November.
That that's really incredible. Um,
Yeah.
in these modern in these modern day and ages, a lot of people like, oh, I want to be partner, I'm gonna do it. A lot of people, they try to do it for the money, they try to do it for the career.
Yeah.
I think what you've got, is very humbling and very welcoming. To be honest with you, it's quite inspiring. That we can have someone that uses this platform, just to connect with people, really get out of your comfort zone. And for some people, it has got them out of out of their comfort zone.
Mhm.
I just think just think that's really really incredible. Personally, for me, you know, in my mind, those are the for me those would be the right reason to stream on Twitch, to stream.
Yeah.
Um, you know, you want to make new friends and to meet them, in IRL. I think that's the common terminology we use today. I don't know, when I think IRL, I think web domain, or some sort of some sort of website. But I think that's really incredible. Now, let's go back to when you first started. You had a lot of person anxiety. You were very introverted. Um, what what went through your mind before you hit that live button the very first time like, how were you feeling? What went through your mind? Um, what did you did you expect anything out of it? What was that first time like?
Mm. Wow, that's a very good question. The first time was definitely the hardest. I still have those same type of feelings every time I do press that go live button, but they're not as strong. I think the biggest thing I was looking for the first time, especially, was just seeing like if I could make it, and actually do something with it. Uh, the game I was playing, World of Warcraft, was special to me because I played it growing up. I met a lot of great people through it, and I knew one great World of Warcraft streamer who kind of gave me that confidence to actually, try streaming out. Uh, Basically, I decided, okay, I'm going to use this platform to help other players become, better in the game. Newer players, feel more comfortable, learning it, because unfortunately, the World of Warcraft community is quite a bit toxic. So I felt like if I was able to change that mindset for a lot of the newer beginner and more veteran players in terms of it's okay to help people rather than rush through everything and expect perfection. I think it would have made me feel great knowing I was trying to make a change in the game. So hitting that first go live button, I was kind of expecting to essentially just change people's mindsets and try to get more people back into what the game was pre Wrath of the Lich King, where it was all guild activity. The community was much nicer to each other. People actually focused on teaming up, grouping up, and actually helping. And then after Wrath of the Lich King, it just kind of all fell apart. Um, Nowadays, I still feel a bit anxious trying to click on that go live button. It's like, am I going to say something wrong? Am I going to do something wrong? Am I going to lose, the community I've built up, within these last couple months? Uh, so there's always that hesitation every single day, but knowing that I can at least make an impact in one person's life by clicking that go live button, that's what drives me to actually click it.
And that's very to me that's very inspiring, and it's also very, you know, that's I think that's what a lot of communities need, especially in these you know COVID pandemic times, and people
Mhm.
being stuck in the house, and people not being able to go out as much. I think we need that positivity, and what I've noticed with your community, um, your community, it's very vivacious, it's very uplifting. People are very engaging. um, you've built this concept that you have, um, you know taken away the numbers, taken away the money aspect. um, the concept that you have is, to me, it's very successful. To me, that's a way
Yeah.
you want to build a community. um, if you could give advice to a brand new streamer, that's getting ready to start, that they've got anxiety, they've got, they're introverted. What kind of advice, would you give them to help them on their journey, on their path to start streaming?
I would say technically, first thing you should always do, especially if you're starting out and anxious, turn off your view count. Um, Originally, I had mine on, and I think that was what really caused that kind of eventual shift that I had, where the first week or two, I was bummed out. I had 0, 1, maybe 2, up in that little, view count number window.
Right.
So I was like, what am I doing this for? You know, what's the point of this? This really isn't that fun. And as the stream went on and on and on with that 0, 1, 2, maybe less, maybe more, it's just like, why don't I just end early? Um, After I turned that view count off after that second week, things got so much better because I wasn't worried about who was actually there anymore, but I was more so focused on actually having fun in the game, uh, talking to anyone who actually did show up, and I was a lot more focused on the content I was producing rather than the content I was trying to equate to how many people was actually there. Um, Knowing that someone got more benefit seeing me actually like play the game correctly, helping them through a quest, running them through a dungeon, was a lot more beneficial than why isn't there 10 people watching me right now? Why isn't there 20 people watching me right now? So just changing the life in one player is huge. So turn that view count off. Uh, in terms of emotionally wise, know that it's okay to be anxious your first couple times. You're going to remain anxious. There's no way to turn that emotion and feeling off. And it's okay to show those emotions, your feelings, and just be true to yourself when you are live. People are going to connect with you more. People are going to empathize with you more. People are going to be a lot more emotionally connected to you when you're live and actually interacting with them, when they know you aren't trying to hide the fact that you are anxious, that you're scared, that you're nervous. They're going to appreciate that a lot more than if you were trying to fake it, and they will help you through it. There were some days where I had no idea what to say, I had no idea what to do, but my community basically changed all that in about a minute, and we went crazy for the rest of the day. So just be true to yourself. Don't change based on what is the quote unquote norm or meta on this platform. Turn the view count off. Don't worry about numbers. Focus on yourself, focus on your community, and just network with other people who are either similar or communities that you know are correct for you.
That's really beautifully beautifully said. I think it hits every nail on the spot, and that's fantastic advice. One of the things I do want to backtrack on. Um, for me, it's a very I think it's a very very important topic. Um, I think a lot of streamers, one of the advice tips you had given them is turn that view count
Mm,
off. I think what happens within the community is, and we're gonna dive into, later on here in the podcast. We're gonna talk about mental health, and we're gonna really dig more, deeper into that as a streamer in real life. Um, but the big thing, that I've noticed that I personally experienced, and I'm sure a lot of and you personally experience, a lot of people experience, is when you have that view count on, in my mind, I feel that that can be very detrimental to not only a beginning
oh
streamer,
yes.
but that can be detrimental to any streamer, because when you see the views, some days on Twitch you just never know what's gonna happen. You never know. I always tell people, never expect anything. Don't don't
Hmm.
don't expect to have 10,000 views. But that we all know in the Twitch world that it doesn't work. It doesn't work
Uh,
that easy. Um, but what I noticed though is people get wrapped around the mentality. If they have it on, yeah, why aren't people coming on? And then you have people that it affects the way they stream. It affects their mental health. Um, it really affects their community too, because a lot of people get that negativity, like, you should be watching my
oh
streams.
yeah.
Why aren't you watching my streams? I feel like that's very a very important topic, because it can affect someone's mental health, like in 3 seconds.
Yep.
In 3 seconds, it's just crazy. I think that's a big nail hitter right there. I think a lot of
The
people.
biggest problem with it is the fact that they're distracted looking at that number
Exactly.
versus focusing on what they're there to do. They're there to create content, have fun, with a community, and whether you're good, bad at a game doesn't matter. You're there for the people, and you're there just for what you want to do. Looking at that number is going to lead you absolutely nowhere. And your mind is going to get wrapped around so many negative thoughts that it's going to completely block out everything else that you're attempting to do. There were two streamers I was watching recently. One had the number on, one had the number off. The one who had it on was someone who had around 500 viewers at that given time. The person who had it off had 12, I think it was, viewers at that given time. The person with the 500 one got to a point where they were so used to seeing like 700, 800, 900,000 plus. They stopped their gameplay midway and started calling people out, started getting annoyed about the fact that people weren't actually coming in to watch him. And you could see that 500 number go down, go down, go down, go down, go down because of that negativity this person was, doing on stream because they apparently felt that they were so entitled to a lot more of these views. The person with 12, who was not caring about that view count, had first off a lot more chat interaction because they were actually having fun, enjoying themselves, and showing positivity. They cared more about their game, and their interaction with their chat was so much better than this person with the 500 because they were ignoring half the stuff people were saying. So I was much more willing to stay around, support, follow, sub, whatever to this 12 person than that 500 person who, yeah, they could have potentially have helped me with like, a massive raid eventually down the line. But that's not the point of this. The point of this is to make genuine connections and network with correct people. So that 12 person who cares about the community, who cares about their gameplay, who wants to actually have fun and shows positiveness, even though they may not have as much viewers as this other person, I would much rather have them as a friend than that 500 person who's calling people out for absolutely no good reason at all.
No, you know what? You're absolutely right. And again, you've hit that on the spot because I've seen I've seen people do that. I've seen a lot of toxicity go on in discords, and it blows my mind. And um, then I kind of see the oh, woe is me. I'm not gonna do this anymore. I agree 100%. When you have somewhere, when you have someone that turns off the numbers, it is night and day.
Yeah.
I've even seen some big streamers, and I'll name him. His one of them. His name is Beardageddon, because I'm a Sea of Thieves player. He's one of my favorite streamers. I can tell you 100%. I was reading his Twitter, and he had made such a good point. And he always gets asked, how how do you get so many views and stuff? And I remember
Mm.
him putting on there, you know, what's the difference of me, saying anything? You just have fun, do what you enjoy, and
Mm.
if you don't like that, then don't do it. Same with Boxy
Mm.
Fresh, and I see Beard, he's reading his chat left and right, even if he's got 2K, 1K people. He is, and he's. I can't tell you how many times he's acknowledged me, and when you see people like that, that's huge.
That's awesome.
That's positive. You have to enjoy what you do as for us content creators. For you it's like making friends. For me, it's the same way too. It's so cool, to see you utilize Twitch in such a very positive and different way than what people think Twitch is for.
Mm.
I'm just gonna go ahead and just video game and make money. That's all I'm gonna do. I know it's not.
Uh,
It's not. No, it's not like that. There's so much more that you can do, and I think you've really what you've shown us today is you've unlocked a different side of Twitch that I feel a lot of people should see. A lot of people should use Twitch for.
mm.
Make friends. Have fun. Just enjoy what you do. Just enjoy what
Uh,
you do.
uh,
You know, and I'm sure you feel the same way. Before I raid out of every stream, before if I'm gonna click into someone's, I always look for, how interactive are you? Are you positive? I'll, I've seen it to where think I've seen positivity. I go to raid a channel or something, and then it's it turns around very fast, and it's just it's horrible, but uh,
I've done that before.
yeah, it really it amuses, it actually amuses me, because I think about it, and I think to myself, what how long are you going to be able to keep this up for? Because a lot of people,
Uh,
there's a lot of people that love to watch Twitch, that like to find new people out there, and I think if someone finds someone positive and everything, you're just gonna have um, a very positive community. I ran into one, the other day, in like with your community too, Tastic. I wish I could just get a big camera and just show the world, the Twitch community, how Twitch really should go. I mean it all, seriously. But that's great. I appreciate you sharing your insights on that. I think for me, as a streamer, I think that's one of the big things the numbers because a lot of people don't think about that, and some people may go in one ear and out the other. But for someone who's dealing with with sadness or mental health, I think that's a big. I think that's some good advice right there.
Mm.
Now, what now we all got to know what kind of games would we expect Tastic Silver to be playing any kind of stream. What kind of games we know you like World of Warcraft. That's one of them. What other
Well, now that I'm variety, I can officially say that. um, After swapping away from World of Warcraft, I actually did that based on a community challenge. So that's one of the reasons why I think I was able to kind of originally break out of that shell was I decided to do a challenge through my community because I knew that there was a couple people in there that didn't really necessarily like the game I was playing, but they liked the fact that I was the one streaming. So that spoke volumes to me, knowing that they were there for me rather than the game. So I decided to do a challenge, and I knew a lot of them liked Fall Guys. So my challenge was once we reached as many, channel points as it was, I think I set it for like 50,000 or something. I would play Fall Guys every single stream until I got a W. Now, knowing me, a stubborn gamer, here I am playing with keyboard and mouse. So, of course, everyone is telling me, play with the controller, play with the controller. I'm like, no, 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 I'm going to do this. So, for 3 weeks straight, all we played was Fall Guys. Uh, I could not get a W for the life of me, and I kept failing and failing and failing. Finally, I decided, you know what? Fine. I'll get a controller. As soon as I swapped to controller, within the second game, I ended up getting a W. After I got that W, that rush was so high, knowing the fact that everyone just had fun with all those fail moments and just exciting, like, is he going to finally get that W on keyboard mouse? That for some reason I just couldn't go back to World of Warcraft. I play every now and then still, offline.
right.
But stream wise, I don't know, it just kind of like ignited that passion of, changing things up. So I think one of the biggest things is, especially if you start out, it's okay to start with the same game over and over until you do build that, beginning community. If you start being like completely various right off the bat, it's going to be very hard to kind of build that initial group of people that are going to kind of come back with you. So stick with the same game for at least, I would say, the first month or two. And then once you've kind of built that great group of people coming back, then you can, look into playing other games. But after Fall Guys, I decided to, okay, you know what? Let's play some other games. I had a Switch, so we started playing some Pokemon. We started playing some Mario.
Nice.
I did some other challenges such as Super Meat Boy. Um, and pretty much I will play anything on stream right now as long as it's kind of, it doesn't have to like be completely family friendly, but I do try to avoid games that are kind of triggering. So like FPS type games, I try to avoid on stream, but I mean, I wouldn't mind trying it, as long as it's kind of like a fun one. So like, Fortnite or Valorant, I could potentially
Right.
try Overwatch, stuff like that. But if it's like, Call of Duty, um, Escape from Tarkov, and a little bit more realistic, then probably not. So pretty much right now, I'm more than willing to play kind of anything as long as it's, I guess, not like too triggering in a way. Uh, if someone has a game they want me to try out that is triggering, I'll try it. And of course, I'll tell everyone, before the game actually starts, hey, this game has, triggering for, depression, anxiety, stuff like that. But yeah, so pretty much any variety game right now, as long as it's not like, gruesome type stuff, I'll try to avoid. Uh, I don't really like JRPG type games.
Right.
So it's kind of like a lot of open world, Zelda-esque, Pokemon-esque type games that I, would definitely enjoy. So stuff like that.
That's awesome. Those are really great games, to play, especially with the Pokemon and of course
Yeah,
Mario. I love. You can never go wrong with Mario. Um,
exactly.
but it's when people, people in every, each community, some people are different. Some people, build their communities, off of Call of Duty and everything. And I think as a variety streamer, I think it's great to be a variety streamer, settings, just stick in one game because it gives, the audience, the viewers, okay, what's he gonna do now? Oh, look, he's gonna play Pokemon. Or
Mhm.
he's gonna play Mario. That's for me as a viewer, that's one of the things I like, seeing is the variety, um, of it. Um, now we go into now we're gonna kind of get dig into more here the mental health aspect of it, and one of the things you had talked about was triggering games in terms of depression and anxiety and for you as a streamer, when when you have someone in the community that does say, hey, I want you to play this game, and that it's a trigger, um what goes through your mind when you see these trigger games, um that can cause depression, can cause anxiety. What goes through your mind, and what's the best way to to deal with games like that, or especially with a community that that really wants you to play, but it kind of gets you especially it can get you out of your comfort zone, especially
Mm.
when we kind of go kind of more deeper that aspect.
Yeah, so if someone has a recommendation, I will always research about it and play it first off stream just to get a feel for how I feel about it first. Uh, if I feel very uncomfortable playing it off stream, more than likely I wouldn't do it on stream. Uh, if they really, really wanted me to play it and they wanted me to watch me play it, I would probably do it like, via Discord or like a private session type of thing. But I definitely wouldn't expose it, to, the rest of the community, especially if I'm going to feel like I just can't do it because I would hate to, freeze up or do something bad, on stream based on a game that might trigger me. Um, if it's safe for me, I'll then look at my community and what triggers them. If I know that a bulk of my community would be okay with that game, we'll go for it. If I know that a bulk will not be okay with that game, we again probably wouldn't go for it, and then we would do like a private showing of it through Discord, something like that. So one example, someone had actually recommended um, the Edith Finch game, and it wasn't necessarily triggering per se, but it's very upsetting, and there is, obviously lots of death in it. So I know that some of my community members would probably find that triggering to themselves. But I knew that a bulk of them weren't going to view it as I was trying to do something negatively, but it was more so, there to kind of, enjoy it, with my group of people. So we actually did stream Edith Finch, and while it was upsetting, I knew that my community actually really enjoyed it because they were able to see how I was reacting to it. I was able to see how they were reacting to it, and we all kind of supported each other through it. And a lot of other people who was there that stream decided to play it themselves, and they absolutely loved it. So that was a great experience. It was a game that I never thought I would ever play before either, and I absolutely loved it. Even though it's short and it's very easy to get through in one sitting, the connection I was able to build with people watching me do it was huge within itself. So, yeah, it really depends on first how I'm feeling. Then I'll look to my community, see how they might feel about it, and as long as it's okay for me and it's okay for them, we'll go for it. If I know that it's something very, very major, like I know some games, specifically have like the trigger warning, like on the
Right.
labels, and when they advertise the game itself, they will say exactly what triggers are in there. Like for example, I think that Doki Doki Literature Club or something. That has a major disclaimer on there. I'm not sure exactly what the triggering is on that one, but something like that I probably wouldn't do, on stream. But other community members that are part of my group, would do something like that on their stream, which I think is awesome. And the fact that this platform is so open to different people, different experiences is huge. But yeah, in terms of my streams, though, I'll look to me first, I'll look to them second. And as long as I know that I'm going to be okay with it and a bulk of my community is going to be okay with it, I have no problem playing it.
Very nice. I think it's it's really I think it's really cool that in the midst of having a game that can cause some triggers, even some serious triggers, but you have the community that still wants to watch it. And for you guys to support each other, I think is very warming, and I think it's very welcoming.
Yeah.
Because you gotta have that. You have to have a good community with that kind of support. And if you can have that support, it's easier to get through those
Mm.
games. What advice would you give a brand new streamer that's that does struggle with those, but they have they're starting out, but they've got people coming in and they're really wanting to watch watch certain games, and but knowing that that streamer it's a trigger for them. What advice would you give them to help them out with those kind of scenarios?
Biggest thing is to don't be afraid to say no. It's your stream, it's your rules, and if you are uncomfortable doing something, don't do it. And if your community is right for you, they're going to understand that and they'll stay regardless. If they are absolutely adamant about you trying to do something that you are not comfortable with, direct them to somewhere else. There are other people who would probably be more than willing to play that game. And even if you lose that community member, that's okay. You're going to gain someone else very, very quickly who knows that you're staying true to yourself, who knows that you aren't willing to break out of that comfort level. And if you don't want to do something, they should respect that. Don't allow people to push you to do something you don't want to do, because then you're going to get into a very negative mental state and you are going to hate the experience overall, and you're going to probably not want to continue it after that.
That's really great. That's really, really great advice, Tastic. I think for because I once in a while I do come across somebody a new streamer they do struggle with it because they got a community that just they try to push and sometimes you can see in the streamer's eyes they're like
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard for people because they don't want to lose that community member, and um it can be a daily struggle. So I think that's great advice that you give, especially for someone new. Now, some more advice. You know, say you got a streamer, and then all of a sudden, just right in the smack dab middle of the stream, they either their anxiety kicks in tenfold, or they've got this big wave of depression. What would what kind of advice would you give to someone who struggles with those kind of things, and what advice would you give somebody like say if it happened like midstream, you've got a very active chat, but you've got those emotions going on. What's the best way to to cope with that as a streamer?
So I've actually dealt with that myself. So I'll go over that experience first. What were we doing again? I forget what it was. Oh, that's right. That's right. It was one of my first times like really kind of getting into the whole, variety game mode, and we were playing some Pokemon, and something happened completely unrelated to the game, but I got a phone call which was very, very upsetting, and I kind of tried to initially push through it, but people could tell that I was no longer like the same, like, chipper, excited to be there, and eventually just got to a point where I was just kind of slowly drifting and drifting more away from, chat, not really focused in game. I was making a lot of silly mistakes, and people could just tell, like, hey, what's going on? And I think I just kind of pushed myself a little too hard because I didn't want to lose, you know, the momentum I had been getting, that day. I think I actually had just been raided too, so I didn't want to just like kind of, up and leave everybody. But it got to a point where one of my mods, and I'm actually glad that they did this, they messaged me directly and they're like, "Hey, I think you should either stop or raid out. You don't look too good. You need to stop." So I decided to completely stop. We raided off to someone, and I was able to, get myself back into, a proper mindset afterward. So biggest thing is, if you have an active chat going on, if you're really enjoying the game at that moment in time, and just like a lot of things are happening, you're excited, and then all of a sudden you just feel bad, something happens, don't be afraid to take a break or just completely end. You have no obligation to the people watching you to have to continue trying to push through something that's distressing you. Your mental health and well being is a lot more important than a view on an online platform. So take a break first, whether it be 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Just say, hey, I need a quick break. Please stick around. I'll be back momentarily. Get out of that situation. Go take a quick walk around your house. Grab a drink of water. Rehydrate. Uh, read a book for a little bit. Listen to some music. Do something that gets you out of that moment in time just to hopefully get back into a good mental state. If you're unable to do that after that 5-10 minute break, get back with your chat and don't be afraid to end. Even if you don't raid on off to someone, just be like, hey, I can't continue right now. I need to end this. Please, you know, allow me to, do what I need to do and just end. Raid out if you're able to, but don't worry about the raid. Just, take care of yourself first. So again, get out of that immediate situation. Don't feel that you owe anyone an explanation for how you're feeling at that moment in time. You can explain it how you want later on, but if they respect you as a community, they're going to understand that it is okay to abruptly end if you are in distress.
Very nice. That's some great advice, and it's it can be really challenging thing when things and sometimes that happens. Sometimes life does happen on camera. It can happen to anybody. It can happen
Uh,
in the most random times, even at the peak of your stream or the peak of your whatever it may be. um what's as a streamer, someone who's got some like anxiety. Say you're like streaming, your anxiety kicks in, and you know I personally have what they call anxiety attacks, where you feel like your chest is your
uh,
chest feels very tight. You feel like you're about ready to faint. You look like you're turning into Casper the Ghost. um how would you know uh, how would you how what would you give advice to someone who's who has those anxiety attacks, or who has you know um their mental health has just crashed, just just crashing on them, or they just they feel like they've got this big block up. Nothing's really happening. Just all of a sudden, just hits. How would you help someone or like a new streamer, that has those types of episodes, or how would you what advice would you give them to get out of situations like those?
Yeah, so pretty much similar to that previous question, you know, telling them that taking a break is okay. Um, but more so kind of potentially reevaluating what might be causing it. So a lot of the times some people may not know, what their triggers are. Some people may know what those triggers are, and a lot of times it could be something, chat related. It could be like a toxic person in your community saying something which triggers you. It could be something in game which triggers you. If it happens more often than you kind of expect, then maybe you have someone in your chat that shouldn't be there. Maybe you're playing a game that's not right for you. So I would say kind of reevaluate what you might be doing and potentially see if another game, removing a toxic person, uh, maybe just taking a break for a while, going into other people's streams that you might know, also have, a mental health disorder, or, they struggle with something, see how they kind of handle it, you know, or just flat out ask people, hey, if you've noticed me streaming, and I kind of like lock up and I suddenly feel anxious, stuff like that. Have you guys noticed anything which has actually caused me to start doing that in the first place? So maybe getting assistance from their own community trying to figure out what might have caused it is going to help them figure out, okay, hey, it was someone who said something in chat, or it was something that was done on screen, or it could be, again, something just completely random that's not stream related whatsoever. Uh, but they should definitely, take a break first. It's okay to take breaks. I've taken breaks before. Your community will always be back when you're ready to come back. Um, Look for help with your own community. Ask them, hey, have you noticed anything specific that causes me to get into this position? And then just look at what you've been doing in the past and maybe look to play a new game. Maybe look to stream at different times, different days, or maybe look and see if someone in your own community is affecting how you're feeling.
That's perfect. That's amazing. I think that's great. I think a lot of people can really take from that advice, and it's very welcoming and very helpful. One of the things I do want to talk about, and whatever advice you may have, these hate raids that are going
Mm,
on these days. I've personally not experienced this. I've actually have a couple friends that unfortunately have experienced this. What would what would your advice be to help people who have um, mental health issues that get caught up unfortunately in these hate raids, and what kind of advice would you give to help prevent these? Obviously this is this is, to me, this is almost like the COVID-19. This is this
mm,
seems to be a bad virus that seems to be spreading among a lot of communities uh,
yeah.
these days. What would your advice be to someone who either has experienced it, or has experienced it and continues to experience it, and what can they do to prevent something like that?
Yeah, so like you, I'm lucky to not have experienced it myself. I do know other people who have had it done to them, and it's just really upsetting watching the fact that it happens and there's really nothing they can do about it. And unfortunately, the platform itself is doing absolutely nothing to prevent it from happening. There's been a lot of great people, for example, Sari, who created SariBot. There's a coalition going around right now. Um, I think it's called. Actually, what is it called? Let me see if I can figure out what the uh, name is real quick. I totally forgot what it's called. But there's a coalition going around right now of different marginalized streamers. Um, the biggest problem is if the platform can't give you the tools necessary to be able to prevent this from actually happening, there's very little you can do except for taking care of yourself first. I know that people have some great mods that help them deleting these messages. There's bots like that Sari bot again that can hopefully prevent it before it actually happens. So a lot of great community members are out there really doing what they can to try to support as many people as possible, but again, they're also limited to what they can actually do themselves. Biggest thing is just kind of continue to be aware of it, continue to support each other, and if it actually happens on stream to you, don't be afraid to put on sub only mode. Uh, chat delay 30 minutes, something like that, whatever it might be. Unique chat only. If people know that you are currently being targeted with hate, they are going to be a lot more accepting of the fact that it's on sub only mode, and they'll have no problem waiting until that actual situation is, done with, and, it no longer is going to continue. Biggest problem right now is it's getting worse and worse and worse. And anytime one set, of those bots are banned or blocked, another set just comes in right after them. So I think the biggest thing right now is to just, you know, don't quit, know that it's not you. It's just people who are insensitive, who don't care, who are just trying to get a rise out of you, and know that you matter, know that you are loved, and allow your mods, your bots to take care of the direct messages, and for your own mental state, because it will definitely affect you moving forward. Just know that it's not your fault that it happened. Know that you're going to be able to push through it and get through it, and it's okay to feel scared, it's okay to feel upset at that given time, because it's a very scary thing, it's a very upsetting thing, and it should not be happening whatsoever. This platform is absolutely refusing to do anything about it. It pisses me off so much, and everyone else has a right to be pissed off. It just should not be happening. But don't be afraid, again, to just know that it is happening. You've done nothing wrong. You're going to be able to get through it. Your next stream will be better. And eventually, if they do end up caring, we're hopeful that it's going to eventually stop. But right now, just support each other. Look for help with the, available bots and tools that, people themselves have been able to create to try to help you. And again, don't be afraid to express how you're feeling, especially if you're upset, mad, scared, angry, because you will be.
Absolutely, and that's great advice, and I appreciate you, sharing that tastic. It's just it just seems like seems like just one thing after another in this these communities. It's it's just it's just weird. It's I just wish people would just calm down a little bit and just stop stop the hate raids.
Uh,
Um, now what other message on mental health would you like to share with the community, whether it be streaming, real life? What would you like to share mental health fantastic?
my biggest thing is to just communicate. It, it so many times people fail to actually realize that it's okay to talk to people. about how you're feeling, because you may feel like someone won't believe you, someone won't understand you, someone will be too scared to do anything for you. But just keep talking. The more you talk, the more you bring awareness, the more you seek help, the more people will start to understand. The more people will try to understand, and the more people will try to do what they can to actually help. There's nothing wrong with seeking help. Seeking help is a strong, positive, and respectful thing to do. And you need to communicate rather than bottling it all up and allowing it to get worse and worse and worse. If you bottle your feelings up, your emotions up, and your actions up, you're going to break down even more, and you are not going to feel good at all. And again, it's okay to feel sad, it's okay to feel scared, it's okay to feel anything you're feeling at that given time. It's normal. There is nothing wrong with having a mental health disorder. There is nothing wrong with having anxiety. There is nothing wrong with anything about you. Communicate, talk to people, seek help, and know that you are going to be stronger, you're going to be respected, and you're going to be cared about if you do.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that message, Tastic. That's um, for someone I've dealt with a lot of anxiety and depression. That's a very welcoming message, and I think you're absolutely right on that. There's nothing wrong about getting help. I think it's the best way to go. It's always for me it's always best to talk to people. Never bottle your emotions up on the
Yeah.
inside. I've personally done that before, and I've seen people do that before. It just doesn't. It gets worse and worse. It's like blowing up a balloon, and then when it pops, it pops. Um, so, what whether it be mental health or streaming, what message would you like everybody? Would you like the community to get out of today's podcast? What would you like them to take with them from this today?
Just make an impact in someone's life. Whether you're a streamer, whether you're a supporter, whether you're a you know YouTuber, whether you're a artist, whether you're a tweeter, whether you're an influencer, whatever it is, TikToker, uh, Instagrammer, I don't know what else there is out there. Um, Whatever you are, just make an impact in someone else's life. That could be smiling, that could be giving them a hug, that could be saying hi, that could be waving at them, that could be just reaching out to them, on social media and other platforms. Just reach out to someone, see how they're doing, say hi, you know, talk with them. If you make an impact in one person's life, that person is then going to make an impact in someone else's life. That person is then going to make an impact in someone else's life. And it's going to keep going around and around and around until everyone is eventually making an impact in everyone else's lives. So the biggest thing is just say hi, talk to someone, make a new friend, make an impact, and continue being the awesome people that you are.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, message. Um, I think it's important for people, to be positive and, make that, impact. And if we can all make that positive impact within the community, we can fight off whether it be the hate raids or, if we can help, even if it's one person, helping them with their anxiety, depression, I think it's that the
And
the impression that helps someone. I think that's a great message, and that's something I think this Twitch community needs to really get together. And so I appreciate your positivity and your messages, your advice you had given today. I think they're all incredible and inspiring, and I think a lot of people can really take a lot from this podcast today. Now we all have to ask, what right now. I know you kind of you got a new job and everything. When can we catch TasticSilver? When can we see your streams?
So they're all various right now, unfortunately. I usually try to go Tuesday nights right now. Sometimes Friday nights, sometimes Sunday nights. Unfortunately, it's just all sporadic. However, luckily, starting not next week but the week after. So I think it's the week of the third, if I'm not mistaken. No, the week of the second, because no, the third. Yeah, because the second is Saturday. So the week of the third, starting that Monday, I will now be off Mondays at 3 p.m. at work. I'm always off on Tuesdays. Fridays I'm always off by 4, and Sundays I'm always off by 5. So I think what I'm going to be able to do is actually make somewhat of a consistent schedule moving forward. So I think Tuesday nights will definitely be a consistent day, and it's either going to be Monday night or Sunday night, where that's definitely going to be a consistent day, and then Fridays are going to be kind of like a various, like if I'm able to that night type of deal. So Tuesdays and Sundays, Mondays are probably going to be your best bet right now.
Awesome. Well, I definitely look forward to catching your streams, and I'd look forward to seeing you grow your community and share that positivity with everyone. So, and I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day off to come hang out and you know talk about mental health and talk about streaming and everything today. Tastic. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here today, my friend.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Absolutely, man. Hang tight just a moment. I'll be back in just a moment, Tastic.
Cool.
And I'll be right back. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in today, hanging out with Tastic. Please check the link in the description of the YouTube video. He's got different links. Please check him out. He's a great guy, amazing streamer. He's got a lot to offer, and um, just continue to be positive, and let's continue to make this community better. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful Monday, and I hope you guys are safe out there. Thank you guys again.